All right, welcome to our Powerhouse call. So happy to be here with all of you, and I'm sure others will be joining in a moment. And first of all, I want to acknowledge those of you who were able to come last week to the May Mastermind. It was so great seeing you in person. And I know we packed a lot in over the course of those 2 days. And we did send out a survey. So Becca just posted a survey in the Facebook group page. I know a couple of you already have participated in it. So if you haven't yet, if you could go ahead and do that, that would be great. The sooner, the better for all of us, I believe, because then we can receive your feedback, what you loved, what would you like more of, those types of questions. And that way we can always, as a team, be improving and as a community be evolving. So, and if you weren't able to come, I see Tracy on here. Aloha, Tracy. Then just, I totally honor where you are. It's all good. And, we have other masterminds coming up throughout the year. So we will be announcing on that shortly. So, okay. So today is your call. So remember, every month we do an accountability call. Okay, somebody's got background noise. If you got background noise, go ahead and mute yourself. And yes, Susan just posted the survey. So for those of you who are watching this live, you'll see the survey in the chat, and it's also in the Facebook group page. So, so you can go ahead and participate in that. And like I said, today is your call. So this is your chance to think about where you are in your business. And if there's one area that can help you with today, great. Then we'll go around and you can share what your questions are. And also, some of you who were at the mastermind may have, allowed things to process through and think about what your questions are even beyond that. And I'm here to serve you. So who would like to start with a question? And remember what I said early on in this coaching program, that remember I'm inviting you to be laser with your question, and I don't need a whole backstory, right? We want to be mindful of time. So, what is the question? How can I best serve you? And so whenever somebody's ready to go, then I'm ready to provide some coaching. Who would like to go first? Dramatic pause. I know we're finding our rhythm with this. So, or if you want to share a win, if somebody wants to get started by sharing a win, or if there's an obstacle you're currently facing, just get the juices flowing. And yeah, Jess. Hey, Jess.
Hi. I feel like I want to hold this space for people who weren't at Mastermind, maybe, because I feel like I got so much good coaching. But I did want to share that I'm finally really in committed action around my summit, which I've been trying to work on for 6 months, and I've been really resisting the process. Mm-hmm. And this morning, I just all morning was cranking everything out that I needed to crank out. And I feel like that momentum is because I have all of these giant Post-it things all over with my offerings and name things. And I'm like, oh, yay.
Totally.
So
that's
I feel
awesome.
If you're feeling stuck with stuff, one thing Amy taught us, I have this thing, and then, yep. And then I have that kind of stuff all over my office.
I do too. Yeah. So what Jess is referencing is for those of you who weren't able to come, and as a refresher for those who did come, you can get those big Post-its. I mean, you can order them on Amazon, or you can order, go to an office supply store, Office Max, Office Depot, and they have these big flip chart Post-its. And what I like to do is anytime I'm in enrollment, so for example, right now I'm in enrollment for Powerhouse California. And so I put Powerhouse California, and I draw, 12 hearts on it. And as people join, I put their name in the heart. And as I talk to people, I get the little yellow Post-its. So say that Jess was interested in coming to Powerhouse California, and we had a conversation, and she's trying to figure some things out financially, so she's not officially in yet. I would put her name on a little Post-it and put it over one of the hearts, because I'm calling her forward to be one of the hearts that comes to Powerhouse California. And then when she says yes, I take the little Post-it off and I officially, ink her in. Another thing that I've done, Jess and others, is I've started a new thing, because I also like tracking what marketing is working for me. So how did I connect with each individual? And sometimes there's multiple places. So for example, this one woman, her name's Jessica, and I originally met her through Ascension Leadership Academy. And then I was on Coffee with Shanda. I hosted Coffee with Shanda's Facebook Live show one day. And so she was reminded of me, and then we reconnected, and then we had an enrollment conversation, and now she's in. So above her heart, I put ALA and then CWS. So it's like, I know that from connecting through things I've participated in, like ALA, and stayed connected with people, and then through Coffee with Shanda, that attracted a client for Powerhouse California. So that way you can, I mean, there's of course other systems that you can use. As I mentioned at the main mastermind, my team is also now using Close.io. Susan, if you could pop that in the chat. Close.io is a tracking system for all your leads that come in. So Tracy's going to smile when I say the word system. She's all about systems. And what's great about it, as I mentioned there, is that, so imagine that you have say that you have 10 leads, right? So you have these leads that you type in all their contact information into Close.io, and then you synchronize it, like you tell them what your email address is. And so it synchronizes your email. So anytime you email that prospective client, it tracks it in like a file online. Also, if you want to call that person or text that person, you can actually call or text through the computer, like so that it tracks everything. And then you can also have an automatic email that goes out as a follow-up email that you create. You can also write a note to yourself, like follow up with this person in 1 week. And that way, when you pull up your homepage, you could say follow up with these 3 people. So it's a really beautiful, streamlined system that as you grow, and this is something that you don't have to necessarily do right now. I just am sharing with you always behind the scenes what my company is doing, so that you can see, like, okay, is this a time to invest in something like this or not yet? But you can even create a page in your notebook or online where it's like, tools and resources that Amy has mentioned. In fact, we could even do that in our Facebook group page. Note to self. This is where the ideas come up, right? We're always looking for ways to improve. So resources and tools, so that if it's likely that if there's something that you're like, let me back up. If you have a pain point around some area in your business, then there might be a system that you can put in place that will overcome that pain point. So for my team and myself, with the sales leads that we have that are coming from different things, like we were using other systems, like Airtable was great up until this point. So Airtable's another resource. And then we could see where sometimes we weren't following up with people, or we would spend so much time looking up, like, okay, what was my last conversation with this person? So then we had heard about it, Close.io, and a couple of other systems. We did a few trials, and then we really determined that while Close.io is the higher investment, it's also the best quality-wise. So so if that helps, even just thinking ahead for things like that, just know that there are amazing resources out there that you can use to create systems in your business. Okay. Who's next? Who has a question? Don't jump up at once. And this is, okay, just as a note for future accountability calls, what I do, because I also attend a monthly accountability call with my coach, I come, like, it's not that you always have to have a question. Like, I'm not saying that. If you do, prior to the call, think about, okay, if I could get coaching from Amy today on an area that I would like to resolve today, what would it be? And then that way, as soon as, like, when I'm on my accountability calls, it's like, we can't help but just like, okay, hi, it's Amy. Like, I have a question, because it's like, we all are like jumping up to ask a question, because this is your dedication to your business, right? This is what you've invested in. So it's almost like you're getting like a mini private coaching session with me in a safe space. And then know that when you ask a question, that others can benefit from it. Okay. So I know that we'll find our rhythm with it, and we're still fairly new in these accountability calls. Just know I'm here to help you. And I see that Sherelle has raised her hand. So Sherelle, what's your question? And let me unmute you. Okay. Go ahead.
Hi. So
hey.
my question is, I'm feeling, I don't know what next. It's not that I don't know the steps to take, as far as being motivated to actually take the steps. Because when I look at my goal that we created, the numbers, it seems so far-fetched right now that I have a hard time moving forward because of that. So I was just curious if you can speak to, like, what do you do? Like, what are some certain processes that I can do to switch my mindset and to help me feel worthy and empowered, and that I do have a purpose to share and to bless people with?
Absolutely. So 2 things. One, you're talking about the worthiness conversation. And I just want you to know, I invite you to know that you're not alone in that. I mean, every single entrepreneur that I've ever coached at some point along the journey, if they've stretched themselves, which most do, including myself, have had the worthiness conversation. And what has helped me around that thought, that limiting belief, is that whenever I feel like, am I good enough? Or what if I'm not good enough? Or who am I to think I can do this? Then what I do is I recognize, first of all, I acknowledge that I'm having this little voice within me that's representing, a smaller version of me or a limiting belief that is not me. And I also, this is the biggest thing, I remind myself that that's me making it about me, which means that I'm no longer in service to them being my ideal clients, them being my audience, them being my future clients. So the way I shift is like, this is not about me. This is not about me. And I am worthy because I know I'm within integrity, that I'm here first and foremost for a purpose and to make a difference for others. So that way I get out of my own way of like, who am I to think I could do this? I can't do this, or whatever limiting belief is coming up. And I make it about dedicating my services and my gifts to my ideal clients and my audience and the world. Okay, so that's step number one. The second thing you asked about, how do you stay motivated when there are these big goals, right? So you and I are no different. I have some big goals this year. And if I was trying to look at the really big goal all at once, then I would probably, get my blanket and hibernate and watch movies and not do what I'm supposed to do. So instead, I break it down into bite-sized chunks. So if I looked at the year, I have a really big goal, and I don't need to think about what I'm doing for the year. I get to think about, what am I doing today? And if I'm not feeling motivated, that means that I get to reconnect with my vision and my why behind the vision. So I often come back to my vision and my why, because otherwise it's easy to get off track. So Sherelle, what is your vision?
So my vision is to help women have an amazing and fulfilling sex life as far as intimacy.
Okay, and what is your why behind it?
Why is because it's easy for me, and I just think that I have this saying, transform your sex, transform your life. Mm-hmm. And I just think like it's a taboo that people put underneath the blanket, but it's a necessity, in life to have that type of release, that type of empowerment behind it.
Okay. And then for you, revenue wise, what is your goal for this year?
I would like to finish out the year at 50,000.
Okay. And then
just from my business.
For your business, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And what is your own personal why behind wanting to bring that money in?
Because the lifestyle that I desire to provide with me and my kids, I feel like that would be, the most sustainable for us to be able to live where we want to live, do the things we want to do, for me to invest in learning, it's like this coaching opportunity to invest with ease and flow. I feel like I should be able to have whatever it is that I desire.
Right. Okay. And then to take it a step further, and this is for all of you. So one thing that you could do when all of you are reconnecting with your vision and your why. So of course, first we were focusing out, right? She was focusing on the difference she wants to make in this world, her why behind that. Then we get to focus in. Okay, so what revenue are you wanting to bring in, and are you committed to bringing in? And what's your personal why behind that? So another way to ask that is, if you brought in this extra $50, $100, $200,000 into your life, this is really important here. What would look different in your life if you achieved this goal? Yes, Sonia's taking a deep breath. What would look different in your life if you achieved this goal? So Sherelle and everyone, to take it a step further, you said to live the lifestyle, do what we want to do, and invest. So, or live where you want to live. So where do you want to live?
South. I want to live in a warmer climate, preferably somewhere in Florida.
Okay, Florida. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then what are a couple things that you and your family want to do with ease?
Travel more.
Specifically, can you give me one place that you would love to go to with your family?
Yes, New York In Baltimore, Maryland,
Okay.
like that area.
Awesome. Got some people in New York here. That's great. And then what would you like? Is there anything beyond Powerhouse Mastermind that you would like to invest in moving forward?
Yes. I would love to invest in LoveWorks, the company that I work for. Like, I would
Yeah,
love
with
to be able
Nicole.
to receive
Yeah.
personal coaching. I would
Okay.
love that.
So what you could do is, write these specific things down on one of the big Post-its, like what Jess and I were talking about, right? So these are 3 specific things. Florida, you could get specific. You could research online, where in Florida would I love to live? Whether it happens this year or next or what have you. It's just like, just get clear. Oh, Susan, I'm ready to share it. We have a new nickname for Susan, by the way. It was inspired. I know Cece's on the call right now. But Susan's whatever you say you want to do something, she will always say by when. I don't know if we were deliriously tired when we came up with this, but I think it's really funny. So her last name is Brennan, and I said we should just call you Susan by Wennen. So dumb, right? But I thought it was so funny, and she was talking to Gustavo, and he was telling her what he wanted, and she was like, well, by when? I was like, oh, you just got by when, and okay, so just whoever wants to take and run with it. I think it's hilarious. I think that everyone should get by when, and it's great. So if you talk to Susan, right? I know, right? So if you talk to Susan about moving to Florida, then you will get by when end, right? She'll say by when, and then you can put it on the calendar. But my point is, you get to be clear, and all of you get to be clear. She's clear. She wants to live in Florida. I invite you to think about exactly where in Florida or the approximate area so you can really focus on that vision. You want to go to New York and Baltimore, so you should write that down. And you want to invest in LoveWorks. So by when? By when? Right? Okay. So you could even take it a step further and create, I think some of you have already done your vision boards. You could create another little mini vision board that just has a picture of, the place in Florida, even a picture of a house that you love, New York and Baltimore, and the LoveWorks logo, or a picture of you and Nicole together,
Okay.
So do you see how that, and then if you had a day where like, oh, I don't know if I feel like doing this, and then you look at your vision and you ask yourself one question: committed or not committed?
Yes. Okay.
Or how badly do I want this? And so anytime I am not feeling on point, I'm so on fire about what I'm doing right now. So it's easy for me to reconnect my vision consistently. And I have my moments too, where I'm like, I just want to like chill out, and there's moments to take a, chill night or whatever. And at the same time, I know what my big vision is. So I'm like, okay. The other thing that helps me is I always think about, even things that you could put off till tomorrow. So one thing, somebody even referenced this, that Jesse Itzler says as a phrase, I think it might be even a tattoo or something, but it says, remember tomorrow. So tomorrow, what will you want to look back on? The other way I like to think of it is a little bit cheesier, is that I'm like, well, the future Amy will thank the today Amy for just getting it done. Right? It's like if I don't want to put dishes in the dishwasher tonight, right? It's like, yeah, but tomorrow Amy will thank the today Amy for just getting it done, because I'll come down into my kitchen, it'll be clean, it'll be nice, So that's another way that helps me to stay motivated. Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. And if you do this little mini vision board, then go ahead and post it in the group, and we're going to hold you high to Florida, New York, and Baltimore, and also attending LoveWorks.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, Sonia, you had your hand up as well. Lower hand.
Okay. So that question, by the way, was great. It was helpful for me too.
Great.
What a few new things. I have a question. Do you have any tips on how to come up with a name of a program?
Oh, yes.
Yes. So yeah, I get to create a name for my next program, and blank is blank.
Blankety blank. Okay, so are you going to do we talked about this the other day, so is it going to be the initial 3 month?
Yeah, and either or, like also for
and
the
then go into the year and the and a retreat. Okay, so you need names for all 3.
Yes.
Okay, so Namey Amy in the house. Devaney calls me Namey Amy. I know a lot of people know that, but so the way I come up with names, we did this with Jess also at the May Mastermind, is I make a list. So I get out a piece of paper and I just start brainstorming, brain dumping. Like I start writing words and phrases that align with myself and my ideal clients. So with you, it'd be self-love, energy, shift, deeper work, soul infused. So I would just make a list of all these words and phrases. And then if you want to call it, so like if it's a retreat, so I would do this separately for each one. Okay. So for your 3-month program, your ongoing community that you're launching in January, and if you're doing a retreat, you know, think about those three of them. I ended up using the same name. I didn't plan on this originally. I used to have Coaching Masters Academy, private coaching. I still have my online course called Master Your Marketing. And then when I shifted to Powerhouse, then I ended up using the consistency of that name. And then it's just defined by, you know, Powerhouse California, Powerhouse Florida, Powerhouse Mastermind. So if you could choose something like that and then have something that identifies what it is. But to bring it back, make a list of these words and phrases and just make a list until you run out of things to think about. And then highlight your favorite ones and then start piecing them together and seeing if some of them go together or some of them are your favorites. So even when we did with Jess, and even if Jess, you know, I'm not attached whether you end up using this, but one idea we came up with was social essence method or social essence formula or system, because it's not, okay, in her case, it's not necessarily what she teaches. Like we're in the ladies' room, I was like, wait, let me just be clear. It's not the name of the program, it's your method. Just like I have Create, Connect, Offer, that's not the name of my program. However, it is at a cornerstone of what I teach. So that's another thing. But my point is we still went through the same exercise, bless you, Jess, of coming up with the names. It's a silent sneeze. Coming up with the names or words and phrases and then putting them together and thinking about, okay, what are you wanting to express with the name of your program? What is a memorable name of your program? Or this could be relevant for formulas and methods too. And then the other test that I use is how does it sound if you were to practice saying it in an enrollment conversation? So I come up with these different names and I say, okay, what I would recommend, and I pretend I'm talking to somebody. So I'd say, you know, hey, Barb, what I would recommend to you is that you step into my VIP intensive program where I'm going to teach you my social essence method. And here's how it breaks down. So it just sounds really solid, right? So Sonia, I mean, I really love the Soul Infused Monday that you do for Facebook Live. So you could do a Soul Infused retreat, right? So there can be a fun consistency there. You can do Soul Infused Academy. Not that it has to be the same name. This is just what's coming through me right now. There could be something around shifting your energy. I just don't want it to sound like other people's stuff. Or sometimes, you know, I helped Karina with coming up with the new code. Sometimes it can have some mysteriousness to it. So it could be called the shift. You know, so maybe you have maybe your 3-month is called the shift. Like, so if you were recommending it to me, you'd say, Amy, what I recommend to you is that you enroll in the shift. And the reason why I'm having you enroll this, or what I'm recommending it to you, is that when you share with me that you would like to X, Y, and Z, right? Insert my vision, then the shift is where you get to go. And in this program, it's all about shifting. And what is the shift? It's the deeper inner work. It's the awakening of the third eye. It's this, you know, bullet point out the things that are you. And by the way, this is a reflection. The reason why I'm able to speak into what Sonia does is because she has communicated with me these elements of what she does. And when you, first of all, ask questions on calls like this, get coaching, show up for things like Jess, I've probably mentioned you multiple times on my Facebook Live because you show up and I know what you do. And so I'm amplifying her message, right? I hope you're getting friend requests and leads from that, right? Little dance. So my point is, I just am encouraging all of you to do the work in the messaging and asking questions on these calls and showing up if you're able to, or can make it a priority to show up on my May Marketing Bootcamp, because I'm constantly giving shout outs to the people that I know, and even saying to so-and-so, like today, Jess, I was mentioning to Shannon Johnson about Instagram. She was asking me a question about Instagram. I'm like, I don't know, talk to Jess Jacobson, you know, like I said, you know, this is what I know. Here's who you should talk to. So you see what I'm saying? So this is for all of you so that you can really amplify your message. And I'm so here, and I know this community is here to help each of you. So Sonia, does that help you, just to bring it back to naming? And then what you can do, of course, you know, you've been in other groups with me. You can post on the Facebook group page. You can Vox for me, and we can go back and forth to come up with really great names. I know it's going to be good. The Third Eye Awakening could be another one. You know, I know that was part of your free training recently. Or it could be just called the Third Eye. Sometimes shorter is better because it's easier for people to remember. Also, you can decide if you want the word the or not. I always think about the movie about Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. Originally, it was going to be called The Facebook. Wouldn't that be weird now that we're all brainwashed? Like, I'm going to go on thefacebook.com. It's cleaner, Facebook.com. So oftentimes, I like to drop the because it's cleaner. Sometimes it makes sense to have the. So you get to decide the, however you want to say it.
Okay, good. Super. No, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I'm happy to post something and ask for feedback as well in the group.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what you come up with. It'll be great.
Did I hear you say you were going to post something in the group, Sonia?
Yes, Susan. By when?
By when? So fun.
You guys, we died that night. It was the best.
I couldn't stop. I was like, by when?
So
You just got by when? We should have t-shirts that say by when, bracelets that say by when. We got out of control. And that's what happens here in Delirious after a full 2 days.
Susan, we wanna know by when I'm gonna post something in the group?
I do.
Then let's do a first draft, like whatever.
Yep.
By Friday morning.
At what time?
By 10 a.m. Pacific.
By 10 a.m. Pacific.
10 a.m. Eastern. Sorry, I'm on Eastern. 10 a.m. Eastern.
10 a.m. Eastern, so 7 a.m. Pacific. I love it.
Yay!
Right. I'm looking forward to seeing that, Sonia.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's so good. Like we laugh and it's so good because then we get to be held accountable.
I love it. Thank you, Susan.
Yeah.
Amy.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, Isabel.
Okay, I wasn't going to answer because I didn't want to be went out. So, I know she's going to went in me in a minute.
I know.
So, is it my phone that's staticky or is it the college staticky?
It sounds like you're staticky because I didn't hear that until you unmuted. But I can hear you.
Okay. So I have this spiritual weight loss program or weight release program. I'm even confused by it. And of course, it's my thing that makes me like nervous, and it's where my healing work is also. So of course I don't call Susan, don't call you. No. So I'm I kind of drift in and out of it, and I do my day job 89% of the time, right?
Right.
So I think I need to do just from listening to Sonia, thank you, Sonia, a kind of Facebook thing, like a suggestion or some kind of like realizations or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
do you mean on Facebook in general or in our group for feedback?
no, I would just start in our group. That would be too scary for me. So I just start in our group, and I also started an Instagram and another Facebook. But so I'm starting to get a lot of followers in my Instagram that is from my healing program.
Okay.
So remember, I was associating this with the actualization process.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, should I call it "That's the process," and do like once a week thing? Probably I would have to do it more often. And I think I do have material for it because I actually wrote out my program already. So I guess I'm maybe some assistance on how that would look, actualizing. So my goal is really to help women. My clients are women who have kind of hidden behind their weight and are ready to release themselves, their voice, be free out in the world.
Yep. So how can we best support you? What's your question?
That's my question. To be consistent, how would I approach this?
Yeah. So first of all, my Facebook Live this morning for my May Marketing Bootcamp was around this very topic. So I invite you to listen to the replay. Jess, you'll be happy to hear it was less than 30 minutes today. Yeah, I did it. So listen to the replay of that. And so just to as an overview, come up with a consistent plan. So I would at least do a weekly Facebook Live if you're going to do a Facebook Live. And if you want to first practice it in the group, that's fine. Just get started, right? Remember the whole Jesse Isler, just start, you know, if you're stuck, just start as one of the steps. And think about what is the theme that you want to put out there in the world. So if actualization is it, make it that. If it's weight release or spiritual weight release, have it be that. I would pick one that you want to become known for. Okay. Susan just posted the replay of my Facebook Live in the chat, so you can check that out. So pick a date and time and consistency. So normally when I do my weekly Facebook Lives, that's the exception of this month, then I do a weekly, I call it Chat with Amy, and it's Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific. And then in that, then it's all about, you know, marketing messaging, create, connect, offer, deep connection. So I have some sound bites of the main topics. And even in my May Marketing Bootcamp right now, it has those main topics that I'm having come through. Also, this is always a key component. Make sure that the content that you pick, like the overall theme, the unique theme for that Facebook Live, is congruent with what you're offering. So is this in alignment with your upcoming retreat and program?
Yes.
Okay. So think about, what are you teaching at your retreat, and what's like an appetizer of what you can share with them on these Facebook Lives. So one piece of it. And that way you can embed and seed what you have coming up. So as you're giving them, as you're being generous with your topics, you can embed in it. So you can say, so for example, at my upcoming, you know, XYZ retreat, I'm going to be going deeper into this topic, and the reason why is this. And then you can go into problem, solution, result. So this is something I've gone over in the past, and I went over at the May Mastermind, where you share like what, you know, as an example, either from your own personal life or from someone you've helped, whether it's been a paying client or someone you know, where you say, yeah, so this reminds me of my client so-and-so, or my own story of this was the problem, here's the solution, and here's the result. Here's what happened. So that way you're letting people know, you know, here's the content, here's how you can go further with me by giving it as an example, and then giving an example of the testimonial, or the example of what you overcame, or a story of what you overcame, or what you helped someone overcome. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Thank you, Amy.
And
Really
you can
helpful.
give examples, like just, you know, look at the replays of what I've been doing, and you'll notice that oftentimes I'll start with an introduction of myself, because sometimes people are joining for the first time. I often share a brief story that's congruent with the theme. And then I go into the content of what I'm teaching that day. And within the content, I embed what I'm offering. And I share examples with the PSR format, typically. And then I open it up for Q&A. Okay?
Okay.
Does that help?
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And I'm sure Susan will reach out to you so you can be by Winand as well.
Okay.
All right. Great. Angel Amy. Hey. Oh, we need to, can you unmute yourself, or I can?
Yes. Can you
Yes.
hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, wonderful. So, quick question. When one has a successful 6-month program that's working quite well, what is your thought process or action steps you take to then be thinking about what to enroll them in next?
Good question. So, first of all, you can decide if you're going to have a second tier program or not. I mean, there's been times when the focus is to really create this 6-month program and rinse and repeat it, because then that could be your focus of getting that to a certain point. Now with you, Angel Amy, you've done programs for a while, so I do believe there should be a second tier. I wouldn't recommend that to everyone. So sometimes it is just about rinsing, repeating, getting a program to be really, really good. So whenever I get in my head about what should I offer next, I always drop into my heart, and I think about what would be the next step that would make the biggest difference for these people. What would be the next step? So whether that's private coaching with you at a very premium level, because remember with you, especially you, Angel Amy, it's like we need to make sure that we're not taking up all your time with lower end investments, because your calendar books out. So you're high in demand.
Right.
High in demand. So So I would be careful with that and just real, I mean, okay, are you doing any private coaching right now?
So I do, yes, I private coach, but it's $120 an hour.
Yeah, we get to increase that. And then are those people like on an ongoing, like are they coming to you once a month or how does that look?
So the private sessions, depending, because I do so many different things, most of so the tapping is mostly ongoing.
Okay.
So the program has the one-on-ones built into it, remember?
Okay. Yeah.
So
okay, let me ask you this.
Increase my rates.
Yeah, so like, this is great. Let me ask you this. Okay, can you just rattle off, like, you've got the tapping offering. What are the other like one-off sessions or one-on-one that you do?
So I offer EFT tapping.
Yep.
Reiki session.
Okay.
Angelic psychic reading.
Mm-hmm.
Angelic guidance session.
Okay.
A mediumship session.
Okay.
And that, so those are, oh, and then intuitive development private.
Okay. So you get to decide. I mean, there are business models where you do offer a menu of services. Like I think of spas. If I go to a spa, my expectation is that they have different services and I get to a la carte the services. So I'm not saying that that business model doesn't work. I'm also here to help you to break through to that next level. And you have been, and it's been super exciting. In fact, I want to celebrate for those of you who are not there in the room at the moment, or if you weren't there, that Amy exceeded her goal of $50,000 in 6 months. So she's well on her way to surpassing the $100,000 mark. I think you could well surpass it this year, by the way, but I'm celebrating with you that while we were there, she exceeded it. It was like $50,306 or something like that. So
right.
Good job. Yeah, it's really, really exciting. So you can either keep it as is and simply raise your rates if you really feel like this is the best business model for you, or you can think about, okay, what if I bundled and created a VIP membership, or something like, okay, the people that use, for example, the tapping, EFT tapping, do those people also use any of these other services? Typically?
Yes.
Would you say a majority of them use the other services, or?
So most people, so to answer it the quickest possible, I took the title, as you know, off my card, because most people come to me and don't even know how they should schedule it. They just come and they tell me either what's going on or their need, and then I just take action depending on what modality it is or what the spirit guides tell me to do.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm starting to, half the time what they schedule, we don't even end up doing.
Okay.
Intuitively, I'm pulled in a different direction.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Would you, and either way, like this is not, like I'm not trying to guide you one way or another. I'm committed to being aligned with you. Would you rather keep it as is in terms of letting them choose, or how you guide them to choose which one and simply increasing your rates? Or would you rather shift your business model so that people sign up for like a VIP membership for 6 months or 12 months at a time, and then they can come in and use certain thing, like either where it's almost like for lack of a better phrase, like a high-end punch card method, where it's like they know that during the year they can use a certain amount of sessions and that they're a VIP membership, like which, and it doesn't have to be that, I'm saying like a bundled higher end offering. Or do you like the idea of keeping it as is and simply increasing your rates?
I think I need to sit with it, if that's
fine.
okay. I'm very open-minded to the bundled, because then it's attracting the people that are devoted to the healing, where in moving from like the one-off people that are just curious. So I'm going to sit with it, but I'm intrigued by the VIP membership with the bundle. And as I restructure my website, be thinking about how I think I'm trying to move from the a la carte. It has served me well, but it's very safe for me.
Right. Yeah. And remember, you're booking out. So that
Right.
tells me it's not that you're high in demand. It's a beautiful thing, and we get to shift what you're doing. So either
Okay.
significantly increasing your rates, or coming up with a bundle package. You and I can box for each other about this.
Yes.
And while you're sitting with it, think about the people, right? Think about the people you've been serving in these different capacities, and think about what would make the biggest difference for them. And think about one individual that embodies your most ideal client. And if you were to make the biggest difference for him or her, what would that bundled package look like?
Okay.
Okay. And then I always think of it in the form of an enrollment conversation. So I think about the person. I would think about what could be possible for them if they invested in this VIP high level membership. We can come up with a name for it. And then, like I'm going to put some notes here because I already have some thoughts coming through. And then you can say, what I recommend to you is that you step into my XYZ membership. And this is and here's why, and think about their vision. And that way it's also thinking about like, this is now checked off their list. They know that they're in communication with you and connecting in with their spiritual selves and angelic healings and all of that. And they're committed to you, and you're committed to them to coming in or working with you on a monthly basis.
Okay.
Over the course of time. So it could be a 6-month or a 12-month. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes. And I feel like for my beautiful ladies in the apprenticeship, I still we go through August. I'll end up channeling something we can do next.
Yeah. It's all good. And this is for all of you to think about too, is that, for those of you who are offering programs like this, once you get a system in place, and know that it can evolve over time. So what I was doing the last, handful of years and what I'm doing now is different. And I'm finding my new rhythm with it. And I'm loving it because part of my dream is to build this amazing community. Okay. So Powerhouse Mastermind is the hub. This is the hub. This is the core of all of it. And to bring people in, I'm bringing them in through different means, whether it's the free trainings that I'm doing or initially enrolling them into a Powerhouse, retreat and a more intensive group coaching program like some of you came through, and so on and so forth. Okay. So as you find what works for you and what doesn't work for you, it'll get clear. And then you can really focus on scaling. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome. All right. Who's next?
I do have a question from Barbara.
Okay.
Who's not, and sorry for the background noise. She's not at a spot where she can talk, but she sent me a message and said, what's coming up for me is going towards distractions that cause me to procrastinate. I think it might be my fear of success.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, distractions, I believe we've all experienced them. So, okay. Can you read it? Can you read it one more time, Susan?
Yes.
Like connect in with her.
What's coming up for me is going towards distractions that cause me to procrastinate. I think it may be fear of success.
Okay. So Barbara Nakatomi, what's coming up for you is to, just like I was saying earlier, reconnect with your vision. And know that, you and I went through leadership training together. Like, remember that it's just your, the little voice that's coming up that is trying to keep you safe and small. So it is a, what is the word I'm looking for? A protection mechanism from the little voice. So when I have a little voice, and I believe everybody has a little voice that comes up at times and rears its little head and says, but I'm scared, or what if it doesn't work? Or what if it does work and I don't know how to identify with it? Like one thing that Ken has shared with me, and Ken, feel free to chime in on this, is there's been times when I have said, like, I really want to do this big next step, and then I kind of hold back a little bit, or I take longer in doing the things that will get me there. And we've talked about how, if you've lived your life up until this point in a certain way of being, then it's easier to stay comfortable and to feel aligned with your current identity. And if you suddenly become, or even if it's not sudden, over time become this quote unquote successful person that you don't recognize, then it can be a little bit like there might be a grieving process of the person that you once were, right?
Yeah, I can talk about this. In my case, when I learned this, it was actually a much more literal transformation that I had gone through. I did this fitness transformation and lost 40 pounds and got into shape that probably, I could have modeled for in magazines and things. And it was really difficult to lose that weight, not because it was hard to change my diet or work out or do the things that it took to get there, but I noticed that as my body changed and I would look at myself in the mirror, that I didn't recognize the person that was there. And it felt like this entire betrayal of everything that I had ever known in my life, that the person that I was saying was me was no longer me. And I had completely betrayed my identity, and actually spending time in the mirror to accept the direction that I was going, that this is me. I'm not, taking a vacation from my set point. I'm actually moving it. That was the biggest challenge for me in finding a path forward and staying on, and not just thinking like, oh, I'm going to lose some weight for a bit. You see people that go for a run, and the first thing they do when they get back is they reward themselves with a burger or a piece of chocolate or something that will undo the success they have, because that success actually moves them away from what they know. It exposes the excuses that they've worked so hard on, and being able to accept the success as a part of who you are now is more difficult at times than actually getting there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when you and I talked about this, Ken, like, it really made me realize how I still will sometimes do things that will separate me from people that I see ahead of me. Right. And fortunately, I surround myself with you and people on my team that hold me high, or even Tracy Campoli, who's my accountability buddy. When, I know when I shared with her that I had enrolled David Nagel to be on my upcoming co-creation live stream. And she said, I was like, yeah, just like, it's so exciting that I have someone on his level. And she goes, yeah, Amy, and you're on that level too. That it's not a hierarchy about how much revenue we bring in or how big our team is or any. It's like, let's get out of comparison mode and hierarchy mode and see ourselves as worthy. And the more we shift our language, so sometimes it's about shifting our languaging so that our subconscious mind is hearing our languaging align with the higher version of ourselves. So Barbara, I know you're not able to speak right now, but just to hear what you're meant to hear in this. So instead of me saying, yeah, it's so great to see someone at that level, it's like, it's great to have David Nagel on my co-creation live stream. And I'm excited to be, standing shoulder to shoulder with him, so that there isn't this like different level thing. So there's different things you can do, all of you can do to shift what, and this is a really important piece. Like if your mindset doesn't see you as successful, then you get to shift, right? Like it's just because I can teach you and we can all learn strategies all day long. However, if we don't see ourselves as deserving of what comes as a circumstance of deciding and committing and taking action, then we'll slip back or we'll not accept the success when it comes in. So the way that I continuously shift is I stand in that power and just say, I get to do this. I am doing this, right? Remember that we did an I am exercise there. And really knowing that when you simply decide that I am worthy and start saying it out loud, I am worthy, I am worthy, I am worthy. And think about how that you might be saying things to yourself that you would never say to another person. Like you wouldn't say this, I don't believe anyone in this group would say to another person in this group, you are not worthy of success. You are not good enough. You can't do this. You don't deserve this. In fact, you better self-sabotage this, like you would never say it to somebody else. So why would you say it to yourself? And I know I'm projecting here. So I have said those things to myself, like, who am I to think I can do this? And over the years, I have shifted that and gotten fired up and said, who am I not to do this? I would never treat someone else with those words. So why would I say to myself, I can't? So do you see the shift? So feel it in your belly, like feel it within your core and just say, I get to do this. And if you need to stand up and say it out loud and do what you need to do, affirmations, alignment, shifting your energy, connect with Sonia, connect with Angel Amy, like the energy workers in this group, even Isabel also, I know you do energy work, and see how you can shift. Okay. Okay. So Barbara, let us know if that's helpful. And I see some things in the chat, so that's great. Okay, who else has a question? Everyone's good. We're all making millions. We're all happy, making a big difference. Tracy Medeiros, how are you doing? Oh, unmute. Let me. You got it?
Got it. I'm good, thank you.
Good. Can you share like what you're focusing on right now in your business?
I am focusing on those goals that I actually did 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
Okay.
When they were talking, with Barbara talking about distractions, I totally get that.
Mm-hmm.
Focus. You hide behind your clients or you focus on other things, and I kind of realized, well, the floods kind of helped because when I got back, it was like, why was I doing this before everything happened? And now it's kind of like, okay, we need to get on track and we need to take it seriously and we need to make a commitment and we need to just keep going from there.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So Tracy, and for those of you who are not able to join us at the May Mastermind, one thing I would love for you to do that would be helpful for us to hold you to the highest level of accountability is to create a Google Doc with what I call monthly big picture plan. Okay. So at the top of the Google Doc, monthly big picture plan, and then put May, June, July, so on to December. And then underneath each month, put down like 3, sometimes I do more, but 3 to 5 bullet points of the main things, like whether it's a specific goal that month, or if you're launching something, what are the main things that are your main big picture focuses for that month? Even if several months in a row it's the same thing, that's okay. And then, and that way you can share it both in the Facebook group page, the link to it, so we can view it, and or when you book a one-on-one call with one of our coaches, you can share that link so that you can look at it together and see what's your focus for this month, and where are you now, and what's in front of you, whether there's opportunities or challenges, and how do you best want to use this session. Okay, because that way it's like that's something that has made a massive difference for me over the years, and so now I can always go back to this monthly big picture plan and look at the month of May and say, okay, am I on point? Or what's in the gap, where do I get to shift? And it really helps me to continuously move forward and know how to delegate.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of taking advantage of Susan's coaching.
Yeah.
The accountability person. And I'm at the point where looking at my older goals, they don't necessarily make sense. And I'm all about re-engineering, and sometimes things just don't work out the way you wanted them to, or they are better than expected, and you kind of need to re-engineer from month to month.
Yep.
But I kind of maybe am doubting myself where the things I thought were important in the beginning maybe aren't important, or maybe that's the doubt right now where they are important, but I'm getting distracted and trying to figure out that something else is important, if that makes any sense. Totally.
And I tweak mine as I go as well. So, you can always tweak it as you go. It's the beauty of it. It's yours, Also, and I think that there are, a few people that weren't in the room or at the May Mastermind. So I did want to let you know that we also have Holly, who's on right now, Holly Tack, as now a Powerhouse coach as well. Holly, are you able to chat or be on video? There she is. Look at you, all curls and makeup. And
I know. We were just on a call and I wasn't done up like this.
Oh my God, makeover. You look gorgeous.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to welcome Holly as official coach. She's been a part of the team. She helps me with copywriting. And Holly, of course, you can chime in too. So Holly is fantastic at copywriting, marketing, messaging, strategy. She sounds like someone you know. She and I are sisters from past life. So we talked about it, and so she's joining us as a Powerhouse coach as well.
Yay!
So if you're needing support on getting feedback, so what would be great is if you were writing up copy or things that you're going to post on social media and you want to post it in the group and get feedback from Holly, she's going to be in there. Also, as soon as we have a link, I know Becca's working on her scheduling link. She'll do 15-minute laser coaching calls, and she's also great at strategy. So she helps me come up with my plan for this month, she and Olga, with the May Marketing Bootcamp and mapping out the themes. for my calls. And so she's a fantastic coach as well. So we're bringing in more support. So whenever any of you are just like, okay, I could really use some support, like I'm highlighting the strengths of these coaches, these amazing coaches that work alongside me. Then you can, as you get to know each of them, you'll know who to go to for what, and know that we're all here as a team to hold you to your highest level of accountability. Okay. Holly, did you want to chime in anything else that I missed on that note?
No, yeah, I think if you have like a longer bit of copy, it might make sense to have a Google Doc link that I can edit, make sure I can edit it, and I could just put comments in it. And we do have a link for the calls, so I'll post that in the group right after this.
Great.
And one of my goals is to redo my website, so I'll be taking you up on that.
Yes. So I have experience with email marketing and like social media posts and website copy. So I can definitely help with that. And I was going to say also cash injection strategy and how to like get in front of people even if you don't have an email list is something I've been helping different people with lately.
Yeah. So. Awesome, right? Super exciting. Yeah. Who's excited? Ooh, exciting. Okay. So the other thing that I know I mentioned at the May Mastermind that I want to make sure it's very clear is that, with Holly and Olga, like they also have their own businesses. So sometimes if you've never been in a community like this, it's like, oh, do I get to have my whole website rebranded and get a logo and get colors and like, or, oh, now Holly's my copywriter. Like that was very generous that she's offering to do any like little tweaking or give you feedback. I just want to be clear and totally respectful and in excellence around, protecting their time as well. So she's not anyone's copywriter unless you hire her for those additional services. So she is here to coach and provide her guidance and support and accountability. She's very sweet to offer tweaking and feedback. And then just know that if you want to go for, like one of the reasons why I'm bringing in these individuals is if you want to go further with them, for those who offer more involved services, then you can have a conversation with them about that if you choose. So they're not here to like solicit you or anything like that. They're here just to support. And then if it's more involved, then you can always ask them to say, hey, what would it look like if I wanted to have Olga, if I wanted to have you redo my website or redo my branding and logo? Or Holly, what would it look like if I wanted to hire you to do my copywriting for this big promotion that I'm doing for a sales webpage? And if has the availability, then she can let you know what that would look like for you. Okay, I just want to always be clear with communication around that. Okay, so I'm going to open up for one more question. So does anyone else have a question you'd like me to help you around? And thank you, Holly. Anyone? Okay. Oh, Sonia, yes.
Always have questions.
Yeah, great.
Short question, not going too into it, but I told you about I'm getting ready to tell part of my story. Yep. And I'm actually going to do this on Monday because I did a stretch challenge with my self-love bootcamp and I said, why not doing it myself? So I shared that I'm going to do that to hold me accountable. So I'm going to do it. Done.
Great.
My question is, not that I want to use it in any way like business marketing, but I'm doing it because it is for the world, not for me. Do you recommend me just doing it, or would you actually announce that I'm doing it?
You could do it either way. You might want to say that, you could say what you just shared now, that you've invited people to do a vulnerable share. And so you're like, so I'm going to practice what I preach. I'm going to share my most vulnerable story on Monday. And it's really and then think about what's in it for them, right? Remember, what's in it for them? Why should they care? So it's not just about you and your story, as amazing as it is. And it's about how it can make a difference for them. So you can frame it in the way of saying, recently I gave my audience a stretch challenge of putting themselves out there vulnerably. And so I myself am also going to share vulnerably my story, my most vulnerable story. And I know that it's tied into why I do the work that I do in this world. So when you think about your own story and how you share, so bring it back to them. When you think about your own most vulnerable story, and think about either if you're clear about what it is that you're doing in the world, or you're wanting to gain clarity, then sharing in this vulnerable way can have that, North Star pulling you forward direction, and however you want to word that. So I invite you to come and experience this vulnerability with me, and then know that you can be vulnerable too. Okay? You can do it. You can do it. Okay. Jess, did you have one more quick question?
I always have questions.
I love it. Go for it.
So what's your opinion on, I'm struggling with, I've realized I have like no way to track when my clients' payments are due. Not that I have no way, I'm using a Google Doc, but I also heard Shanda this morning talk about how PayPal has locked some of her clients out, and I've experienced that with PayPal. So I was just wondering, I know you have a finance person. I was wondering what you, like, when do I know I'm ready for that type of thing? And what types of programs do you recommend? And you could just give like a laser overview, because I know we're at the time.
Totally. So first of all, I still have a shared Google Doc as well.
Okay.
And I started an Excel spreadsheet. Then Susan, when she was my online business manager, took it to the next level. And it's gone through, so it's become this elaborate Google Doc that has the name of the person. You know, Sonia and I were talking about this the other day. The name of the person. So one column is the client's name, you know, what program they're in, what's the total amount that they are committed to. Is it a pay in full or a monthly payment plan? What date of the month is their payment due? Typically it's the 1st or the 15th, unless we had a specific payment plan for them. What's the amount if it is a monthly payment plan? And then we also have January, February, March, April. So then we plug in like each month, how much is due each month for that particular person. And then it's tallied up at the bottom. So at the bottom, I can see, okay, what am I forecasted revenue-wise to come in the month of July? And what's my goal? So not just how much contract sales-wise, how much actual cash is coming in, and what's the relation to the goal. Okay, I used to not do any of this stuff because part of me was like so resistant to all the business side of it, you know? And then as I expand, it's like, okay, well, if I'm committed to growing a team and investing in my team and investing in these big things, I get to make money my friend, right? The whole exercise we did with Susan, being money. So there's that. And then for the longest time, I used Direct Pay Inc., directpayinc.com, which is a great system. And most recently, I made the decision to shift everything to Infusionsoft, which I don't necessarily recommend that if you're newer in business, because it's a higher investment. There's like so many bells and whistles. This is just where I am in my journey right now. And Infusionsoft is like, I will very soon be getting completely rid of Aweber, Direct Pay Inc. We're just about transitioning from that. So Infusionsoft is like a hub where it brings together all these different things. So I would look at Direct Pay Inc. to see if that works for you. You can set up automatic payments in it. It can send you emails on receipts. It just is a really great system. And then, something Shanda always says is hire for the company that you want in 3 years, not for the company you have now. So as you're growing, having somebody to handle your accounts receivables, even if they're only, working with and for you 2 hours a week, is huge.
I think I need to do that. I totally forget too. I have a few clients who should have paid me a month ago, and they didn't. And I don't think to check it, and then I'm like, oh, I have $12.
Right. And they're thousands of dollars are owed to me. Right. So I used to do it all on my own. So when I did it on my own, I would set reminders for myself that every week at the same time I would check in my Excel spreadsheet. The other thing we do is anything in red, in the monthly column, anything is red or things that have not yet come in. As soon as that money's come in, we unread it, so we clear it. So that way we know that everything else is in already. At the bottom, we say how much of this monthly revenue has already come in and what's expected to come in, so that we can see the gap. Also, if you do bring on an accounts receivables person, you can give them a goal of an attrition rate. So for example, Judy, with her amazing communication and staying on top of everything and having her accounting skills, we're at the lowest attrition we've ever been. So we don't have, there are those clients who sign up and then they go through whatever crazy life situation. And, so we do have some case-by-case basis, but overall we're on point. Or if we need to adjust a payment plan, we do that, and she's on top of it. So if you do that, you can say, if you keep the attrition, meaning the payments that are not on point, under 5% or under 7% or under 3%, I will give you a bonus of, $200 or whatever per month, so that they also have an incentive to keep that number low. Okay, does that help?
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, I know we went a few minutes long, so if you have thought of a question at this time, go ahead and post it in the group and or book a call with one of our amazing coaches now that all the links are ready to go. And on that note, we'll wrap this one up. Great engagement, and just know that every month we do one of these calls where it's all about accountability and laser coaching. So if you have a question, come prepared, laser, so you can get coached on it. And if you don't, then I invite you to be really present, take notes, and hear what's relevant to you. Sometimes when I listen to calls like this, if I don't have a specific question, I just open up my mind, I take notes, I'm like, oh, that's a good point, or I'm gonna remember that for when I'm ready for that step, or, oh yeah, I wanted to revisit that. So it can be really helpful, okay? All right, have a great week, everybody. Look forward to seeing you on Facebook. If you haven't been on my May marketing bootcamp and you're just like, I don't know what I should be doing, book it on your calendar every day at 9 a.m. Pacific. I'm giving my best stuff, If you're not available at the time, go back and watch the replays and take notes on everything. So that is giving, we're doing everything we can to provide you with all the support possible. So if ever you're like, I don't know what I should be doing, then connect back in. This is your community and we're so here to help you. Okay. All right. We're going to go ahead and unmute everybody so we can say goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Your faces.
Bye.
All right. Have a great week. Talk to you, everybody. Bye.